Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Stock Market Today. You have Alyssa Corum here, and I am joined by Ken Shreve. We're going to talk about the action for the major indexes, as well as a couple of interesting stocks on our radar. Ken, give us a preview.
Well, definitely. I want to take a look at Celsius, a name that people probably aren't familiar with, but a good earnings breakout today. We'll also take a look at Snap, which is holding gains nicely, and Carvana, today's stock of the day.
All right, let's do it. But first, a look at the major indexes, kicking things off with the chart of the NASDAQ here, the tech-heavy index falling 0.7% for the day, while the S&P 500 fell 1% and the Dow falling 1.1%, Ken, as coronavirus fears re-enter the market after some hopes at the start of the week in terms of vaccines and treatments.
Yeah, I was talking with Ed Carson about this before we went on air, and the market kind of seems to be at a little bit of a crossroads here. On the one hand, you have coronavirus cases have been over 100,000 basically since just after the election. Hospitalizations are on the rise, and yet we also have these vaccines that are in the pipeline. Good news from Pfizer recently. We're likely going to hear good news from Moderna, AstraZeneca. So it looks like we're going to get some vaccines next year, but the market is just trying to, figure out what it all means. The good news is that the S&P 500, we know it followed through last week on November 4th, and it is still holding above its follow-through day low. So we're still in a confirmed uptrend here. But when it comes to actionable stocks, it's really getting trickier to find good names to buy. And I think growth investors should pay attention to that. Don't force the issue. If you need to pull back and kind of watch from the sidelines for a little bit, that's okay too.
Yeah, very good point. Well, let's take a look at a couple of the bright spots, starting with Celsius, ticker CELH, a big earnings move, as you mentioned, Ken, up 30% for the day. Very heavy volume, seeing that relative strength line at a new high, along with the huge gain today and some really big numbers from Celsius today.
Yeah, Chris Gessel brought this up on IBD Live this morning, and it's actually a name that I was not familiar with. But they make basically calorie burning fitness beverages. So they've got some ginger in the drink and green tea and all these things. But it is a stock that definitely bucked the trend today. It's pretty liquid. You can see up at the top of this MarketSmith chart. It's got an average daily volume close to 1 million shares. Average daily dollar volume. I think it's over 30 million at this point, so it's pretty liquid, and you can see big growth down at the look at big sales growth in recent quarters. So the company's selling a lot of product at this point. When you see a big move like this on earnings, we talk about this a lot, but you want to see some just tight sideways action in the chart. A 1 or 2% decline tomorrow really is not going to look like much in light of a 29% gain today. So if this move is for real, you would expect the stock to maybe hold above the 30 level and trade sideways for a little while. You don't want to see a violent drop tomorrow. That tells you that the move might not be for real.
Yeah, and let's take a look at the intraday chart really quickly. Like you said, we talked about this on IBD Live in the early going. I mean, you could have looked maybe here to see an entry, and it really continued higher from there as the day went on, closing near the top of its range for the day, which is what we like to see. But as you mentioned, let's see where it goes from here and if it can hold those gains. And moving on to Snap. Speaking of stocks that moved big on earnings, we definitely got that from Snap not too long ago. And it has been able to hold the bulk of those gains, even in the face of these headwinds that we've seen really hitting tech stocks earlier in the week. The stock gaining about 5% for today after finding a bit of support at that 21-day, Ken.
Yeah, so when the stock gapped up last month, I mean, it was when you see a 52% rise in revenue compared to a 17% gain the prior quarter, that's going to turn a lot of heads, and it's not surprising to see the stock holding gains after the breakout. So closed off highs today, but as you can see, still rose about 5% on a down day for the Nasdaq and the other major stock indexes. So wouldn't be surprised to see an alternate entry here soon. This one just could move sideways and form a little base. I don't think it's ready yet, but the fact that it's holding gains and refusing to give up much ground after that gap up is a positive sign, and tells me that we probably could see higher prices down the line.
Yeah, really good one for the radar. And last but not least, let's check in on Carvana CVNA, a gain of about 3.6% today. The stock retaking its 50-day line after a little bit of turbulence, but it's breaking out of an alternate entry, something that we talk about more often, I would say nowadays, Ken, in addition to buying either off of a pullback or a breakout. What are your thoughts?
Well, yeah, I mean, definitely. If you can just draw a little trend line here, starting from the recent high of 242.15, and you see a nice move over that trend line, and you can see volume actually rose quite a bit from Wednesday's levels. Carvana, e-commerce platform for buying and selling used cars, and when they last reported earnings, they also reported a nice acceleration in revenue. So not profitable yet, but we talk a lot about on IBD Live, if a company's not profitable, but it's got a new product or service that's fueling big sales growth, these are stocks that you want to pay attention to. So early entry today with Carvana. Again, we're still in a confirmed uptrend, so you want to be looking for new buys, but again, you don't want to start heavy and buy too much in the early going. You just want to nibble, and that's what probably some people did today with Carvana. And market will tell you if your timing was right. But after today's losses, it looks like we had volume could be a little higher than what we saw on Wednesday in the indexes. So it's possible we could get a distribution day for the S&P 500 and Nasdaq. That wouldn't be a great sign, but we're still in a confirmed uptrend. And like I said, the S&P is still holding above that follow-through day low from November 4th. So have to give the uptrend the benefit of the doubt for now.
Yeah, that's right. And Carvana has proven that it can go on these really big runs. So we'll have to see what the next couple of sessions bring, as we are still in a very headline-driven environment right now. But we're keeping an eye on these early entries, some actionable stocks, but still aware that this uptrend could have some twists and turns along with it.
I think that's a good way of putting it. Like I said, the market is still kind of grappling with this coronavirus, and so there's some uncertainty out there. And bottom line is, when you go through screens in the Market Smith Growth 250, the IBD 50, the Big Cap 20, it's not real easy to find actionable setups right now. So sometimes the market is presenting them on a silver platter, and there's so many good opportunities that's a sign of a healthy market. When they start to not be so apparent, it's sort of the market's way of telling you maybe to slow down a little bit, nibble here and there, but don't make big bets for sure.
Well, that's some great advice to close out the show with. Thank you, Ken, and thank you all for tuning in. Be sure to catch more analysis from the team on IBD Live tomorrow morning. That's our daily morning live stream where our experts are sharing their screens, talking about setups, trade ideas, portfolio management strategies, and overall market conditions. We hope you tune in. Go to investors.com/IBD Live for all the details. Thanks for watching. We'll see you right back here tomorrow.